Let's move to this conversation now. Treasury tabled its budget vote yesterday. Finance Minister Edgar Godongwana also highlighted some priority areas and spoke about also the strengthening of the public procurement system. Now, the budget vote also aims to outline progress that has been made by the department in order to support efficient as well as sustainable public finance management, as well as to promote economic growth. Let's speak to Edgar Sishi. He is the National Treasury Budget Office Head. Edgar, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Treasury talking about stabilizing the public finances and saying that it's going to be important to be prudent going forward. At the same time, we're looking at municipalities that are under distress. There's dysfunctionality there. There's also quite a lot going on. How much of an impact is this having on the public purse?
Well, firstly, thank you and good evening. Thank you for having me. I think that the municipal situation is of great concern. We have made very much a lot of noise around the fact that a majority of our municipalities are in financial distress and that action needs to be taken in that regard. Obviously, the municipal councils, the mayors, as well as the officials working in municipalities are ultimately responsible to the residents in the municipalities for making sure they get reliable service delivery, as well as ensuring the municipality is financially stable. From our side, what we have been doing, as you can see from the budget vote, is we have been investing a lot of resources in capacity building in municipalities. And for that matter, we have been taking steps to intervene when municipalities have failed. But to be honest, ultimately, you need the municipal councils themselves to work. National government can't run all the municipalities by any means. And so you really need, at the council level, that system to right itself. Thank you.
And as you talk about that, of course, I see that, in the speech, the minister talks about those efforts that he made even to write to the various premiers to ensure that this is an issue that is addressed in order to improve even the purse, as you say, for these particular municipalities. Are you moving a needle there? Do you think that we are seeing some kind of difference?
I think provinces in particular are doing quite a lot, and we're working closely with provinces. As you said, the minister has written to provincial premiers, and also he has had meetings and engagements with various MECs for finance and MECs responsible for cooperative governance. And the Minister of Cooperative Governance has also been fully engaged on this. So obviously there's a lot of work and a lot of information that can be provided from that side. But from our side, we are investing, as I said, quite a lot of resources in capacity building in municipalities, and the interventions that are being undertaken, including where a municipal council is being taken over either at the provincial or at the national level, involve a lot of resources, and we're investing those resources to fix those municipalities.
I can't help but ask you about an issue that was in the public domain. I mean, there were reports suggesting that Treasury is refusing to release funds allocated for rebuilding parts of KZN following the floods. What exactly happened there?
Well, we have been fully engaged there, and we have made resources available. So certainly by the end of April, I can confirm that we have released more than 900 million rands for the housing reconstruction. The key things that we have done there are, firstly, we have issued 2 separate circulars, one indicating an emergency procurement process that accounting officers, in other words, the heads of departments in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, as well as in the Eastern Cape, because remember, the Eastern Cape was also affected by the floods, and the DGs at the national level to expedite procurement processes in order to bring the engineers, the contractors, the people who need to get on the ground to do the repairs. So that circular was already issued. The other thing that we have done is we have engaged with the Auditor General to make sure that real-time audits are being conducted so that we address any potential maladministration or corruption. In fact, in the circular we issued, we required that from the 13th of May, onwards, every department that's involved in the reconstruction and the relief processes in KZN and Eastern Cape must submit weekly spending reports on what has been done with the money. And then finally, as I indicated at the beginning, we have made resources available. We have adjusted the cash disbursement schedule for the provinces, both KZN and Eastern Cape, to front load funds that would otherwise be provided later on in the financial year so that they're actually made available earlier on. And as at the end of April, over 900 million rands has been made available for that purpose.
So listening to what you're saying then, of course, there is a process that you say is unfolding, and of course, the President talking about those real-time audits that you've touched on as well. Where does then that emanate from, that you are refusing as Treasury? Because I know it was raised by a political party, the DA, but they're saying that you're refusing. So what do you think then is behind this?
Well, all I can say is that the payment schedule, the cash disbursement schedule, has been formally adjusted, and we have made a cash disbursement available. So I can't speak for other people, but I can confirm on the record, and for that matter, departments such as the Department of Human Settlements can confirm that, in fact, we have made those cash disbursements available.
So as we then near the end of this conversation, I can't help also, Edgar, but look at another issue that even the Minister says has been long-standing, and this is the issue of the public procurement bill, also to try and improve the issues of reporting around public procurement in the public sector, because as you say, that has been an issue of concern for quite some time. Let's talk about how this is going to then strengthen the decision-making and even the transparency when it comes to procurement in the public sector.
Well, remember that we were in the process of submitting a public procurement bill. Last year, we were in that process. However, we've had to take into account important developments since then. As you know, the Zondo Commission, the Commission on State Capture, has released a very comprehensive outline of some of their findings of the shortcomings and the failings in the procurement system, not necessarily mainly in departments, but mostly in the state-owned enterprises. As you will have seen, Eskom was a major area of focus there. So it's important that we take those outcomes of that report into account as we go into the process, because you don't want to table a bill and then you start having a secondary conversation about the outcomes of the Zondo Commission. That's one part of it that we are taking into account. Of course, as you would have seen in the conversation that took place during this week, during the budget vote speeches, as well as when the appropriation bill was discussed at the Appropriation Committee, that the issue of the Constitutional Court judgment is also something that has to be taken into account. So there are processes. We wish that it was easier than it was, but unfortunately we have to take these things into account to make sure that we don't just get value for money from our procurement processes, but that our procurement processes are, to the extent that we can do them, are as easy to execute as possible for accounting officers, in other words, HODs and provinces, as well as the DGs and the national departments.
And that is going to be the most important of all, to ensure that they are easy to execute, as you say. But thank you so much. Let's leave it there, Edgar. I'd like to appreciate your time. That is Edgar Sishi, head of the Budget Office at the National Treasury Department.